guys, what is up? My name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hope you guys are doing well. Today I'm here with an unhaul. I feel like I haven't unhauled books in like 6 months to a year, so it is time. I have a hefty box beside me that we're going to go through. A few things I want to mention. Most of these books are being unhauled because they don't follow my new rule. I usually get rid of books when they are not 4 or 5 stars and I don't plan on rereading them, or they don't hold any value in my collection. I have read most of these and some of them are good, they're just not good enough for me to keep. I also want to say that by unhauling these books, I'm not discrediting what they're doing or the authors, and if any of these are your favorite books, I do apologize. This is not meant to be rude to anyone. So, without more explanations, let's just hop on into the box. The first book I have is actually one that was on my August TBR, and I finished it, so it's kind of a spoiler for my August wrap-up, but that is Blockshot by Kennedy Ryan. This is an adult romance novel that follows two perspectives, Jared and Banner. I'm not going to explain the synopses of all of these, but this one I gave 2 stars, and I'm unhauling because to me it is very problematic. It kind of glorifies cheating on a significant other and justifying means to actions and justifying doing horrible things to get what you want. I don't want that on my bookshelf, and I will not be continuing on with this series. I will be trying more Kennedy Ryan, just not from the Hope series that this is a book from. I then have something completely different, and that is Magic Misfits, the first book, which is written by Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris is one of my favorite actors. This book is not a bad book. I haven't really given it a rating. It is a middle grade, more on the younger spectrum of middle grade, and I think that's why I just don't see myself rereading this or wanting to hold on to it, because I feel like it's much more geared towards very young readers. I love middle grade books, and I've kept some on my shelf like Nevermore and all these kinds of things, but this is just a little too young for me, and I don't have anyone in my family that has like young children, because I definitely would have passed it on, but for now it's going to go to a thrift store so someone else can find value in it. I then have a copy of What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I know this book is getting mixed opinions. Some people love it, some people hate it. I actually really liked the book. That being said, I do also know that Becky Albertalli has written a lot of characters in the LGBTQ community, and not everybody loves the way she portrays them. However, the reason I'm giving away this copy is because I actually have 2 copies. I have the American hardcover and the UK paperback. I don't see myself rereading this copy. I have annotated the other one, and it holds more value for me, and so I'm deciding to give my second copy away. Another book that I'm giving away that also has Becky Albertalli as a co-author is Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky Albertalli and Aisha Saeed. This was fine. I think I gave it 3 or 4 stars. It's just that I will never care enough to reread it. This book was a little long-winded. I wasn't really attached to any of the characters or the romance. I think the political elements in here were the most interesting for me. However, as I mentioned, it's not something I have significant value like attached to. I didn't enjoy it enough to want to reread it in the future. It was just fine, and so I don't want it to take space up on my shelves. We then have another pretty disappointing read, and that is The Easy Part of Impossible by Sarah Tomp. This is a book I read in July, and I was really excited about this one because not a lot of people were talking about it. I thought I had found like a gem of a book for my reading taste. This follows a girl who has spent her life diving. Her goal is to make it to the Olympics. Something happens in her diving career that kind of makes it so she can't dive anymore, and she now has to spend senior year figuring her life out. This also has to do with coach abuse. This is physical abuse. A lot of people put it on sexual abuse in the Goodreads shelves. It is not, if it's something that you're still interested in reading. I just wanted it to focus more on the coaching element and the diving element. However, it kind of got distracted, and I ended up giving this book 3 stars. Not enjoying it, and maybe someone else will find more value to it, but I definitely never see myself rereading this one. Then we have Intercepted by Alexa Martin. This I bought as a used copy, and although I do have another book in that series on my shelf, I didn't love it enough to keep it. Like, I don't mind having series without all of the books on my shelf if I only enjoyed one. This, I don't really have any critique for it except the overuse of hashtags as like regular dialect in this book. I liked the main character. I thought the NFL elements in here were fun because this is an adult romance that focuses on kind of like NFL players as well as their girlfriends or wives. This is the first one in a 4-book series, I believe. The fourth one should be coming out very soon when I'm filming this, but yeah, it was fine, nothing revolutionary, nothing I'd see myself rereading, so I'm giving it away. We then have The Distance Between Us by Casey West, which is one of her older releases. I like this book. I think I gave it 3.5 stars approximately, and this follows a main character who is kind of alone with her mother. Her mother owns this doll shop and they're not doing so well financially, and one day this young boy comes in to get a doll for his grandmother and they strike up a conversation, and obviously it's kind of like 2 different social classes and how they fall in love. It was fine, not one of my favorite Casey West books, and I do enjoy a lot of the books that she has written. I have a lot of them on my shelves, but this one just doesn't make the cut, and yeah, no significant attachment to this one. It was fine, but it's an older read. It was just okay. We have another book which I'm almost sad to be giving away because it's stunning, but I just didn't fall in love with the story as much as I wanted to, and that is I Want to Be Where You Are by Christina Forrest. I think this book is absolutely beautiful, and for a YA contemporary, it's good. Again, I gave it like 4 stars, but it's not something I see myself rereading, and although it's very beautiful, I have no sentimental value to this story. I've forgotten what most of it is about by now. I just remembered that this is a story of a girl who's always wanted to be in a like ballet company kind of thing, but her mother refuses for her to go to this audition, and so she sneaks out and wants to make a drive to this city where they are auditioning, and for some reason she gets blackmailed by this boy to go with her. They're like front door neighbors, but it wasn't all that exciting. Christina Forrest does have a new release coming out in August, which I will be reading because I did love the writing style and the characters, but as I mentioned, it's just not a book for me. I think I'm aging out of YA a little bit, so. The next book I have is actually The Last True Poets of the Sea by Julia Drake. I have purchased this because of Chelsea at Chelsea Darling Reads, and it is one of the only books in this pile that I have not finished and do not plan on finishing because it touches on topics that are a little bit too triggering for me to read about, and the headspace I'm in my life right now, I don't see myself being able to read this and feel good or feel healthy while reading it. It's not a bad book. A lot of people love it. It's just I didn't realize how triggering it would be for me as a reader, and therefore I'm going to give it to, you know, to a charity shop and they can do whatever they want with it. Hopefully someone finds it and is happy to, because this is, I believe, a 2020 release, and yeah, unfortunately not for me, but I'm not going to put myself through a bad mental health day or however long it would take for me to read this and trigger myself just to finish a book. We then have The Proposal by Jasmine Gilroy. Most of these books I bought used, this one included, and this one was fine. It is part of the Wedding Date series, which she recently came out with the 5th book in that series that I absolutely adored, but this one I don't plan on rereading and I don't really care about. The writing in this one had definitely improved from the past, I think, 2 books that were out before this one. This follows a main character who kind of has been dating this guy for a few weeks. It's casual, but she kind of wants to break it off, and then he publicly proposes to her at this baseball game and actually spells her name wrong. She refuses to get engaged to him. People are reacting all kinds of weird, and so this other man kind of swoops in and helps her out of the stadium, and it's their romance. It was fine. Again, not revolutionary and not something I see myself rereading. I didn't care that much for the main characters, so we're passing it on. The next book I have is another disappointment, and that is Lucky Color by Emma Mills, and I hope the person who finds this in a thrift store will be happy. It is another 2020 release. I love the cover, not so much the story. This I thought would have like a radio podcast element. I was very present in it, kind of like Listen to Your Heart by Casey West. Unfortunately, the story didn't go that direction, and I think it's the only Emma Mills book that I've read that I didn't feel a strong connection to the friend group or the love interest. I just didn't really care. My favorite character was actually the main love interest, but I didn't really feel a connection with the main character, so I didn't really care. And unfortunately, it was just a disappointment. Middle of the road book for me. I gave this 3 stars, but again, I don't want it to like hold a space on my shelf, so we're giving it away. Another disappointing read is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. This, I almost DNF'd. I was just so disappointed. I loved the representation in this book. I think this is what makes it special as a romance book, because our main character, I believe, is Brazilian or of kind of Latinx heritage, and that was interesting, but for the rest it really fell flat. I didn't believe in the chemistry between the 2 main characters. I didn't like the tone of the male main character, nor did I like where this was going. The steamy scenes I didn't even care about. So unfortunately, I think it's a me thing, because a lot of people were loving this, but I just don't want it on my shelf, and when you almost DNF a book, I think you should not keep it. Another disappointing read is 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. This I had such high hopes for. It was one of my first thrillers I've ever read, and I thought I would love it because it's a book about books. This follows a main character who owns a bookstore, and he had written this article several years ago about the 8 perfect murders committed in novels, and then someone actually goes and recreates these perfect murders, and so he's kind of blamed and works with the FBI to kind of figure out what is going on. This, if you haven't not read it yet and want to read it, I just want to let you know it spoils the ending of a bunch of different books, including really popular novels that I feel like a lot of people want to read. Maybe not everybody has gotten to them yet. So I was very underwhelmed with that. I found it unfortunate that there was no warning for that, and also the ending was shit. Like, I wanted to throw this book and burn it or do whatever with it. I was very, very disappointed, and no, not a fan. We then have a graphic novel called In Real Life by Cory Doctorow and Jen Wang. I like this graphic novel. I gave it 4 stars, but do I see myself rereading it? No. Did I get attached to the main characters? No. So it's not really worth keeping. I think the story and the feminist elements in here were really interesting to read about. It really discusses social status differences and third world countries versus first world countries, as well as girls in the gaming world. So it does have interesting elements, but it just fell a little bit flat for me. I need a really big connection to a graphic novel to want to keep it, and unfortunately it didn't do that for me. While we're on the topic of graphic novels, I have 2 other ones I want to get rid of. The first one is The Backstagers Volume 1, and then I have Goldie Vance Volume 1. I enjoyed Goldie Vance like a significant amount, but I don't think I want to continue on with the series. Graphic novels are expensive, and so I kind of really need to love it to want to spend my money on more than 1 volume. The Backstagers was fine. It does have a paranormal element in here, which I wasn't a fan of, and so it kind of fell flat for me. This was like a 3-4 star, and this was like more of a high 4 stars. But again, don't see myself reading the next volumes in the series, so we're giving them away to someone else. Another book I'm not going to read because it touches on too many sensitive topics for me is The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. Plus, a lot of people have hated this book, and I have gotten this book when no one really had reviewed it yet, and the more the reviews came in, the more I didn't want to read it. And then when I heard some of the topics of interest of this book, I decided I could not deal with it. Hopefully someone else enjoys it, but it won't be me. Then, a problematic book that I'm giving away, Captive Prince by C.S. Picot. We're not even going to go into that. It glorifies slavery, so no thank you. The next 2 books I am giving away is because I have extra copies. I will ask my sibling if she wants them before I actually give them away, or any of these books actually. But it is The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. There was a mishap in the order of this book. I have gotten it already, so now I had 2 copies. And also Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, because I want a giveaway of a hardback copy of that book, and so I decided to keep the hardback. That's the one I read and kind of want to keep with me. So both of these are going to either go to my sister or go to the thrift store, and I hope someone picks this one up because that was an amazing book. I have yet to read this one. Still really want to. But yeah, Get a Life Chloe Brown, fantastic, 5 out of 5 stars, one of my favorite reads of the year. So I hope someone finds it and picks it up and is happy because this is a brand new copy, like never opened, no broken spine. So we then have the Vincent Brothers and the Vincent Boys by Abby Glines. This one is a very old copy and it is getting yellow. I have purchased these two books. I read the first one. Although I like Abby Glines and a lot of the other series she has written, these two are not for me. I don't like the direction it went and the connection between the main characters, so we're going to pass them on. I do still have like the Seabreeze series and I don't plan on getting rid of those. They do fit nicely with them, but honestly I'm just not going to read the first one again, and I just didn't like the series overall, so it's a no. We also have a few YA contemporary novels, and I feel like it's very out of character for me to get rid of contemporary novels when I've enjoyed them, because YA contemporary has been my life for a long period of time. I got into reading because of YA contemporary and it holds a significant place for me, but I can't keep them all, so I'm getting rid of a few. The first one being Match Me If You Can by Tiana Smith. Again, most of these books I bought used or on used websites. This one is like a pretty standard YA contemporary plot. I think I gave it 4 stars. I read it in a day. Like, it was fine, it was fun, it was cute, but I don't connect to the characters as much as I do with other novels, and I think that's the distinction in making YA right now. Even though I'm 23, sometimes I do still connect with YA characters, and those are the books I want to keep. But for this one, I don't even remember the characters, so obviously they didn't really stand out. Therefore, it can go to someone else, and hopefully like a young teen could read these because they're obviously appropriate. So I wish it finds a good home. Same with Once and For All by Sarah Dessen. This is such a beautiful cover, and I really, really enjoyed it. Now I'm kind of second guessing getting rid of it, but I can't keep them all. That's what I try to tell myself. This is a wedding novel where our main character's mother and I believe like her mother's gay best friend have a wedding planning business together, and our main character actually helps, and she falls in love obviously while planning weddings. She's a little bit of a cynic. She doesn't really believe in romance because she's seen so many weddings not work out or people getting married for the 5th time, and it's kind of her opinion changing on that. It was a great book. I gave it 4 stars, but again, can't keep them all. Another one I'm giving away is Virtually Yours by Sarvenza Tash. Why can't I pronounce the author's name? This is an interesting book, and I haven't really seen anything like it before. It follows a main character who in this, well, it's a contemporary world, but where she's located kind of thing. They have this virtual reality dating, not an app, kind of like a dating place you could go, and they set you up with 3 different people and you can go on virtual reality dates, and this has to do with like convincing an ex-boyfriend to come back with her and then falling in love with another boy, and it's just, it was fine. I really liked the virtual reality aspect, but it wasn't my favorite, and I was a little bit disappointed. I was so hyped for this book when it came out, I think in 2019, and yeah, maybe someone else will like it more than I did. We then have 3 Dark Crowns by Kendra Blake. This is the first in a series, and honestly I've tried so many times to start this book because I was excited for it when it released. I thought it would be fun. Never got into it, and I'm not going to read the rest of the series obviously, so I'm just not going to bother to keep it on my shelf. We have To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo, which if you guys have seen my April Owls vlog, I have like one of them up on my channel. I read this book and it took the life out of me. I had DNF'd this once before and thought, you know what, I usually like pirate mermaid sea stories, and that's what that is. Kind of a retelling of The Little Mermaid but darker, and you know what, it took the life out of me, but not in a good sense, and I hated it and I never want to read it again, and I'm so angry at this book, so I'm just gonna give it away. We also have Check Please, which is volume 1, and I never got into this graphic novel. I tried so many times to start it, never finished it, which is surprising because it's usually the kind of graphic novel I would love, but unfortunately I didn't feel a connection to the main character, and this is the first in a series. I'm not going to read the rest of the series, so hopefully someone else can find this and love it. what I wanted to read this book for is the LGBTQ elements in here, but unfortunately I never got to that part. We're down to like the final 3. We have We Contain Multitudes by Sarah Henstra, and I just don't like the way this book is told. It's told in letters. I'm not a fan of that, and again, I wanted to read it for the LGBTQ elements, but the writing style just... nope, 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 nope. We then have The Field Guide to the North American Teenager by Ben Felipe, and this I was really interested because it's the story of a boy who was originally from Montreal, which is where I am from, and he moves to Texas, and I know people from the Texas area, so I thought it would be really interesting to see how he adapts to the different environment, because Montreal and Texas definitely are different. And it was cool to see like a Canadian teenager move to the States, and I just didn't really vibe with this and the writing style, so I never finished it. But you know what? I think someone else will love it, and it's really interesting to see my culture in a book, so for that I do have to give it some praise. And the last book is one I was debating giving away or not, and that is Bloom by Kevin Panetta and Savannah Ganush? I'm not really sure, but this is a male graphic novel romance, and it's very beautiful. Like, it has shades of blue, and it's like a bakery, so there's like cute stuff going on. I don't see myself rereading this. I'm still on the fence about giving this one away because I think I enjoyed it enough to want it in my collection, but I'm not sure. Let me know what I should do down below. But yeah, I got this when it was on heavy sale on Amazon because a hardcover graphic novel is expensive. So yeah, that was my unhaul. As I said, I read most of these books, and so I don't feel as bad giving them away because obviously they served their purpose, and I do want to give an opportunity to people to read books. Obviously thrift stores are great when people aren't very fortunate in the sense that they don't have a lot of spending money for books and other things. I love thrift stores, so I think they will go to great homes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you very soon with another video. Happy reading. Bye guys!